Hi everyone, welcome back to Rajesh Chaudhary 10x. I'm Rajesh, and today we are kicking off an existing series, Foundation of Laravel Architecture, a comprehensive guide. If you are a professional or a manager aiming to master Laravel as a lead architect or architect, then this is the right place for you. Today's video is the first step in our journey where I will dive into the core of Laravel architecture. I will explore key concepts that form the backbone of this powerful PHP framework, setting the stage for building scalable and maintainable applications. Here, we will learn Laravel architecture overview, the application lifestyle, Laravel service container, routing, controllers and business logic, views and blade templating, Eloquent ORM and database relationship. If you see here the code structure of the Laravel, there are app, bootstrap, config, database, public, resource, routes, storage, test, vendors are by default folders. A vendor directory is not by default, but when you run the composer update or composer install, then it will automatically trigger by them. And there are other by default files .env, artisan, composer json, cron, package json, php unit, readme, like that. So .env file is, as you are aware, .env file is for environment configuration variables we can store inside it. If you see second image, the request lifecycle. Okay, so whenever user comes to the browser and it requests something, then it will come to the route. And router will redirect all the logic to the controller, and controller will do logic and connect with model if data required, and then send to the view. Alright, let's start by understanding the high level architecture of Laravel. At its core, Laravel follows the model view controller, in short MVC pattern, providing a structured way to build and organize our code. In slide, if you see the controller, as a previous screen, when the request comes to the route, then route will pass all the request data to the controller. Then controller will handle all the things, how to display data, when what type of data should be displayed, and so and so. So controller things, main duty is processes sends request to the model and get data and send those data to the view. So once a controller send the model, then model will do the logic. So main logic behind the database and other things. So DB logic, connection with the database and return data to the controller back in some particular array format or object format or collection. So in here DB connection is also we can connect with these models, and there are multiple database we can connect here also, MySQL, Postgres or external database, or maybe MongoDB or any non-SQL database as well. So once a model sends data to the controller, then controller will pass those data to the view. So view will be do the manipulation data whatever coming from the controller and display according to the GUI, whatever the layout set. So according to that it will display. So in view section there are displays, templates, HTML, pages, CSS, external framework. Yeah, external framework like Angular, React, Vue.js or any other we can integrate with this. Currently the blade template by default is coming with Laravel, and Vue.js component is also coming. So either we should go with the Vue.js way or we should go with the blade template way. That is another separate topic we should cover in next video. So in here, if controller sends some once data, Then view will manipulate all the data, either array or objects, and then display according to the GUI as we said. So we'll explore how MVC helps us separate concerns, making our code cleaner and more organized. Laravel is all about convention over configuration, simplifying deployment and development while maintaining flexibility. So all the things should configurable here. And now let's drill into the life cycle of Laravel application. The request response cycle and the bootstrap processes are crucial elements to understand how Laravel handles each HTTP request. If you see in the slide, once request comes, then in background it will call index.php file from the public folder. In public folder there are also another files like htxs and other files also there, but main file is index.php. So once it reaches to the index.php, then it's called app.php under bootstrap folder. The bootstrap folder is mainly used for bootstrapping the applications. So there is also another file inside it, bootstrap, that will also trigger internally. Once we hit the app.php from bootstrap, then it will all call app http kernel.php. So kernel.php is the heart of the http http from. So here it will manipulate all the data, how we should include middlewares and other things, and uh, process ahead. So it's yeah, as I said, it's called the middleware as well. So middleware is a middleman, we can say, that request and whatever the response we are trying to give. So it is a middleware that will control all the processes, validations, as well as authentications, like that. So all the things it's controls through the middleware. By default there are many middlewares are coming, and we can also create our own middleware. So it will pass the request all the data to the service provider. Now service provider is main thing which will control all the services relate, and it will provide all the data to the routing. So service, there are also many service provider, route service provider, app service provider, and the other also. So those are main uh, service provider which will controls the logic and send data to the route. So now if we see, the route is a main uh, point to reach the request. So whatever comes through like index to app, kernel, middleware, and service provider, those are all background processes. But routing is we can see. So in routing, uh, all the route things happening, and it will pass all the data to the controller, model, and view. As we already covered the model view controller in the previous screen, so in here I don't want to cover again that same things repeat. So here all this life cycle works like this. So if we want some customizations and any other things, then we can also do in between whatever it works. We will explore events that occurs during the application lifecycle, giving you insights into what happens behind the scenes. This knowledge is key to optimizing and customizing your Laravel applications. Now, Laravel Service Container. What is Laravel Service Container? Moving on, we will explore the Laravel Service Container, a powerful tool for managing dependency, practicing dependency injections, and embracing inversion of controller. So, if you see a service container, in simple terms, whenever we anything happen in our day-to-day life or something in our at home or any business, then service container, then we have to contain some of the form. So or we have to also cover all the dependency, who is required, what is required, when is required, so and so. So this is simple terms, but in Laravel terms, these are the Sample code example. See here, if the user controller extends the controller, and here we called inside constructor, we are calling user repository. So user repositories and are users model are dependent each other. See, if we have user app models and users, and app repository and user repository. So user repository users are dependent each other, and it will give the service to the user controller. So user controller will display whatever the data according to that. Okay, there are multiple tasks and multiple functions available for this service container, like injecting user repository to controller to get user data. So this is what I covered in this example. So dependency injections, it is also the one form of we have something is dependent on someone. So it's called the dependency injection. If I require data from the user repository, the user repository also depends on the user data from the user model. So it's called a dependency. It is also we can cover this service container also works like a binding and invoking. If we want to create a new service, then we have to bind that service as well. And without invoking that service, this service will not use anymore in the next whatever our functions. So binding and invoking is also required. Binding, it's called is we have to bind some something to the someone. So and invoking means a trigger, and the make method is creates one object, so whatever we have created from this service container. And there are many events also we should generate, like in existing service container there is many existing service container. In it we there are events, so resolving methods and other methods also required to trigger the events and access the event. See, in the next request route, we can also see this is the request, right? Okay, in the first, second small box, it is a route get function request, right? So request is here, request is dependency, okay, dependency injection here as well, because whatever comes from top, then we have to call this request. And there are also automatic injection available. So if we add any repository inside a construct function, then it should get automatically trigger whenever required throughout the class. No need to directly call and so and so. So by using this $user, then it will automatically trigger without again its call or something like that. So automatic injection works like this way. We can just simply add whatever repository or whatever dependency we require. We can just simply add into the construct, and then it will call in subsequent calls. So we will discuss why dependency injection is crucial and how Laravel service containers simplify the processes. By the end of this section, you will have a solid understanding of how Laravel manages dependency effortlessly. I hope you understand this, what the simple terminology with Laravel service container. This is very huge topic. I cannot cover in this one or two slide, but this is I hope you will clear. Okay, now routing in Laravel. How routing is backbone of any web application, and Laravel provides a clean and expressive way to define routes. Let's explore how Laravel handles incoming HTTP request. Okay, we will cover the basic of routing, including how to define routes, handle parameters, group routes for more organized structure. Routing is also a gateway to your application, and understanding it's a fundamental. See, in a given slide, there are four types of files in route folder. API.php, web.php, console.php, and channels.php. There are different tasks. Why we use API and what purpose of API.php then? So API.php is mainly whenever we create any REST APIs, then at that time we don't require authentications directly, username, password, something like. There is also separate authentication, but it is REST token based system, or maybe some different credential based system. So what we have, if we want to create APIs, then we have to mention or we have to add all the routes in this API.php. Web.php is mainly used for general purpose of website direct web browser URL. So whatever we type on the browser, those all URL we should add in this web.php. Console.php is command line interface. Schedulers or cron, which can whenever we call the scheduler or cron related jobs, those all command related stuffs will put in console.php. Channels.php is mainly used for the event broadcasting. If whenever something streaming or something happen, then those type of events we should cover in this channels.php. If you see, there are many methods available. If you want to create a get request directly browser, then route.get. If we want to send the post, then we should use the post. Put is also used for the update. Patch is also used for the some part of the updates, single field update or something. Delete is for mainly used for the delete the whatever the data. And options also available, but rarely we use options. Mainly we can use get, post, put, patch, and delete. The basic routing syntax. See, if you see route colon colon, it's a get, and then we can pass the routing name, the routing syntax, and then function. So this is one type of example. Return hello architect without calling any controller or without calling any other dependency. So it is called like this. We have also named a route. So if we want to use some of the name in multiple files, then we can use this name. So it will give you directly the route over there. For example, if you want some home, see in the given example there is a home name I have given. So whenever I use home everywhere, then it will directly point out this route. What's the benefit of this using the name? It is when we use the name, then we can change route in one place. If in future if you want to change like get instead of slash, we want to put home or a dashboard or my dashboard something like that, then it will only one change required in the named route. There are also many options to pass the variable. So we can pass like this, array in last parameter array key value pair, and then that's it. There are also prefix and grouping available. Why we should add the grouping? Let's say there are many admin related APIs. So we can group it as a admin and then add all the APIs inside that admin group. Let's say if we have any property related uh, group, like property related 10 or 15 APIs or 5 APIs, then we should add those API under the group property group. And a prefix means, yeah, and sometimes we also want like in admin, we have to put browser URL then slash admin and then API endpoint. So in that case we should not write in everywhere admin. So instead we should just put its prefix in that group and then it will take automatically. In this case it is called like admin slash users. I hope this clears to you. Now, basic controllers and basic business logic. See, Now let's talk about controllers. The brains of our applications is the controller. Controller handles the business logic connecting the user interface and the database. We will explore how controllers fit into MVC pattern, creating them, defining methods to handle different requests. This section is crucial for understanding how to structure your application logic effectively because this controller controls all your request and its data. So creating controller is very simple. Using the command line PHP artisan make colon controller and then name of the controller. Yeah, there is another advantage of using this. We can, if we pass the resource dash dash resource after this controller name, then it will create your controller as well as some of the CRUD operation related methods like create, store, update, delete like methods by default. So no need to, if you want to create only simple controller, then just use without this resource. And if you want to like CRUD operation, then we can use the resource. So inside where controller resides, the app folder, inside app there is HTTP and then is controllers folders. And inside that also we can create a n number of folders as well depending on our application. So in given example, I have created one user controller that will extend the controller. The main controller is also reside there. So we every time whenever we create the new logic, new controller, then we have to extend this controller by default. See here we have also added the routes, right? So use HTTP controller, user controller in route file and then route get user slash ID. Then also in second parameter you can pass user controller colon colon class. So that controller directly comes to here, the show method. Okay, the class name and then the method name, the second parameter of the route. So here if you this will controls all the user. So user find means particular user detail. This is mainly used for the user detail. So by this way we can call the controllers. And yes, we should not directly add the database related logic here. If you want database, then you can call the database model. In this case, there is a user model already included. See, use app models user. Moving on to the views and the blade template engine, which makes creating dynamic and reusable UI components a breeze in Laravel. Let's see. There are by default, as I said, blade template is coming in the Laravel by default. So here, how it calls. So in first sample, route get slash function. It is returning view. Okay, so there is a view function we have to add here. So view function will return particular view or particular string. In this case, it returns the greeting something. Okay. So there are some specific syntax. There are a lot of variables and syntaxes available. I can just highlight some two or three. See how to add display variables, bracket bracket, and we can add variables and close the bracket. If you see here bracket bracket, then dollar variable and bracket bracket hello dollar name. So by this way we can display hello variable name. JS variable also we can add the JavaScript related variables like prefixing with the at the rate in front of brackets. And also how we can add the PHP related code or script. So that will also by using the at the rate PHP and then end PHP. Looping is also same at the rate if else if. See blade template. I should not cover whole in this small video. It is very large topic to explain this all in detail. But this is I am giving just some of the context. Okay, in the blade template also we can use sections, layouts and includes. What is sections? Section is one part that we can use somewhere. Like in this case, there is a navigation section. Okay, there is also a header section, there is also a footer section, right? Body section also you can use multiple sections here. But whenever we want some of the value inside it, then we have to use yield. Yield is mainly used for the calling that particular another section inside another section or another value inside it. There is also functions available, head sections, sections like that. Layout. Okay, we can see on next page. Includes. Why we use includes? So whenever we require some of the external or internal JS file or other files, then we should use this include. We can also use blade file also in this include, like this syntax. See how views and blade templating works in terms of the layout is here. We'll dive into the power of blade, its syntax and directives. By the end of this section, you will have the skill to draft beautiful and dynamic user interface efficiently. See, HTML, we can add multiple HTMLs, multiple files like this. But see, in first page layout blade.php, because this is all dynamic things, right? So in dynamic, we can also split out header, footer, middle content. So by this way, we can use one page that, let's say, layout.blade. You can name it whatever. But inside it we can call, like see in second screen, the section directory defines a section of the content, and L directory to display the content of a given section. In previous screen, as we saw, section and L. So this is the definition of that. So in second screen, if you see the layout, right, for each task and so, so we can add it like that. There is another things. See, I have given some of the example how the layout works. In first screen, it is layoutblade.php. It has simple terms, and in second, it's appblade.php. I have added the section as well as eld as well. Last but certainly not least, we'll explore Laravel's Eloquent ORM. This is powerful tool, makes database interaction a seamless experience, allowing you to work with database using a expressive syntax. We'll cover the basic of Eloquent, creating models, establishing relationship between database tables. Understanding Eloquent is a game changer for database interaction in Laravel. But how actually in how to use it Laravel? It's you can see in the screen. I have added some of the screenshot of the code. So if you see the class flights exit the model. Okay, so Eloquent ORM and database is mainly used inside the model. Okay, model resides in app folder and models folder. So I have given some basic example. The class flight extends the model. Here I have added C class created at and updated at, creation date, updated date. By default, Laravel has when you create default migration, then Laravel has created at and updated at. So if you want to change that field, then you can add here like this creation date, updated date. So this will override by default created fields. The table, yes, by default, whatever your migration creates, whatever you named it, it will create automatically the same table. But if you want to change the table name, then you can also add like this, my flights or your flights or only the flights. We can also override the primary key associated. By default, Laravel creates one ID as a primary key, but if you want to change it, then you can also define here. uh, we can also add the relationship between each other, right? Another model like here there is a phone model, so I have mentioned has one. There are multiple relationship, has one, has many, more free, but this should not, I will cover here. Just this is just brief introduction about this relationship and other things. If we want to create a model, then we have to use like this syntax: PHP artisan make colon model flight, or you can add no whatever the name. But if you want to also create migration file as well with this, then you can postfix like dash dash migration or hyphen hyphen migration with this PHP syntax. Another thing, how to call this model inside controller. Basically, mostly we should call model inside controller only, not outside. We can also call outside, but that's not relevant. So here, let's define one variable and then call user model, and then find is the eloquent query that will return particular record set. So user find and then phone is also is relations, right, another table. So using with yes, if we want to use this relationship, then we can also use with. So it is, if we use this with, then there are two advantages. It calls phone uh, relation with user table, and this is eager loading. Okay, so in one query it will not different, but if we use user with phone and then get, then it will create huge advantage. This is eloquent is also very big topic, we should cover on the next. Okay, wow, we have covered a lot in this video, from the core architecture to routing, controller, view, and eloquent ORM. You now have solid foundation in Laravel architecture. What we have covered so far is simple Laravel architecture, application lifecycle, Laravel service container, basic of this, how routing works, type of routings, controller and how controller logic works, views and bullet templating, syntaxes and other stuff, ORM, and how model works. So remember, this is just the beginning of our foundation of Laravel architecture series. In the next videos, we will dwell even deeper into advanced topic. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more content and hit that notification bell so you will not miss our upcoming tutorials in detailed version. Thank you for joining me today. I am Rajesh and I will see you in the next video. This is my YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Thank you.